Hi all, welcome to our Sorare squads as it were at last. We've been meaning to get this up on socials for long enough, talk about in Discords and Twitter and whatnot, but I've finally thought let's get up on YouTube, have a bit of fun, and like some of the times when we do it we have had the video done and then it's just try to get sorted and then I'm either too slow in putting it up or whatever. But Gameweek 301, and sometimes I'm out and about as well, but this week's a bit tricky, this game week. Now, Game Week 302, 303, 304, whatever, they are seeing changes. This week's obviously is going to be a challenge regardless, but obviously everyone's got their midweek games. And I've tried to be kind of sensible in my approach, but try to be balance it out as well, because obviously the one area I was actually lacking in people playing was goalkeepers. Like everybody, I've got plenty for everything, but goalkeepers was generally struggling. But Theo with Lafont in my academy team should be quite a good shout. Ramos seems to be quite consistent point scorer now. He seems to be settled in it this season. Sangar's kind of same applies, and that's kind of what it is. It's like they're consistent point scorers. But it's kicking it on from there. Luis Alberto, I usually try and he's somebody I would always normally want to include, but he didn't play. A couple of weeks ago when I was going to include him, and then he played at the weekend there and scored well, and I was like, yep, missed opportunity there. And Ben Yedder should be a consistent point scorer, but it's getting the best out of him, and it's also I've been wary of who's playing, who's not, and so I just try to factor in the leagues really. For casual, Hobie Verhulst, he's been steady for me for some points, but nothing major. Calabria seems to be, for what I've read on him, has been very consistent, and we thought let's bring him in, and it's good that we've got him. That was a good thing. So I was because I was going through all my players for the last since the start of the season just to see how they were doing. Destiny, I've probably missed a trick not having him in sooner, because he's been a very good point scorer, very good. He's like a daily blend almost. He's very consistent. So I was like, I maybe wish I'd had him in some capacity. Reynoso seems to be quite steady, but nothing major. He is a good player, but MLS is one of these leagues that can be hit and miss, because sometimes they play one game but then they miss the next, and then it makes it a little bit annoying, because you're really, why are you doing this? Luis Araujo usually is one of my consistent point scorers. I'm always happy with, generally happy with his return. 60, 70. I think I've had one of the game weeks I've had just shy of 100. I think I had 108. I think it was 108, 110. Because he was my captain. But it's just trying to get the balance right. That's all it is. Sassuolo, Sampdoria, Fiorentina, Volendam, Troyes, Strasbourg. It's going to be when you look at the academy. Forgot the prize pool. 390 for a tier 3 is attainable. We know we can do it. It's just annoying that it's week after game week after game week we either fall short because the team maybe suddenly I've maybe had the odd player suddenly not start, or if they do start they've just had an absolute, they've had their worst game for say 6 weeks, and you're you've been great all season or all pre-season and into the start of the season, and you suddenly go into this game against weak opposition, deemed weak, maybe say weak opposition, this should be a field day for points, and you're not getting it, and you say to yourself, what is going on here? And you end up missing out. And like, we know we're consistently been getting like star commons and tier 1s quite regular. Like tier 1s are, for 165 should be straightforward. Realistically, we should always, every game week should be star commons, and then hoping that a tier 3 can happen, because once we get one tier 3 we've cracked it with a bit of luck, hopefully. But we'll see how it goes. As I said, people will obviously run the limiteds, which make a big difference in this. If you've got 2 limiteds in your team, you've cracked it, really. And then common casual, like, the best week we've ever had was, we've had star commons, but our best week, I think we were like 150th or something, 154th I think it was, one game week. And what was so annoying was, I think at the time when we were in the top 100, because I think we were like 89th or 90th, we knew in our heads, we thought, nah, there's no danger we're getting tier 3, because I think it was like it was an MLS game, or it was only like 2 or 3 MLS games or something in the evening, and that game week, and it would just cost us, and it was just one of it. Well, it didn't cost us, it was just because we didn't have any of those teams accounted for. We had like the night before, as it were. But we're just always happy taking a star common, tier 1 from this, and just hope for the best. You never know, one day we might just run riot and get a tier 1. You never know, everything might just click and we'd be like, what's going on here? But yeah, no, it's very, very hard to kind of get that kind of luck your way, especially when you've got like nearly 90,000 players with teams. But we'll see how it goes. In an ideal world, everyone was to get, say, 100 points, and then Arujo getting his like captain's bonus. That would be ideal, because it's like 20. We're like 29.5% or something, or 30%. So it's a big boost that Arujo would get for us. So it would suddenly make a big difference if he runs right, and that's what we want from these kind of performances. But we'll see how it goes. Let me know, folks, if you've got your game week 301 sorted, how you've been doing. As I say, we just run free to play. We don't care about putting money in. I constantly get told, Graham, put money in, go and do it. Put a fiver, put a tenner in, put 20 quid in, whatever, and you'll be sorted. You'll be able to compete more competitively. And I'm like, I'd rather try and do it the free to play way. I know I've came close many a time. I know I can do it, and I just want to have a bit of fun at the same time. I'm not stressing myself over putting money in, because then you suddenly might be like, oh, I'll put a fiver in or a tenner in, and you buy these cards and you're like, oh, I've got them for cheap. You might get someone that's maybe worth 20 quid, and you've suddenly got them for like, say, a fiver. But at the same time you're like, do you sell it on? And like, I'd maybe get into the selling routine once I've maybe got a few my own limiteds, but I'll see how I go. Let me know, as I said, what your approach for Sorare is and whatnot. So have a good one, folks. Take it easy all, and I will catch you all